Okay, let's unpack this dizzying, really intricate stack of source material we have in front of us.
Hmm.
Because we are diving deep into a world that is just built on layers of deception, these hidden identities, and a very suspicious accident.
Right.
And it all happens to be playing out in, I mean, the most atmospheric place you could possibly imagine, Timber Falls, Oregon.
This deep dive is tailor-made for you because it is a masterclass
Mm-hmm.
in how these decades-old secrets can just suddenly erupt
Explode, yeah.
right into present-day violence. We've got interconnected crimes here spanning 10 years, maybe even 27 years.
Yeah, it goes way back.
It does, and it's all shrouded in the relentless, damp shadows of a landscape that the sources, they keep calling it an impenetrable jungle of green.
Which is such a great description.
It is. So our mission here is to give you the shortcut, to give you the analysis you need to quickly untangle this entire mess, starting with the only person who really holds the key to the past.
And that's the photographer, Rozalyn Sawyer.
Ex
So Rozalyn is our central figure here. She's a famous outdoor photographer, known for capturing those stunning, almost impossible landscapes.
The kind you see in magazines.
Exactly. And she is, very reluctantly, returning to Timber Falls after a whole decade away. A decade-long absence.
And that absence began immediately following her mother's, Anna Sawyer's, tragic death. A suicide.
Mm-hmm. So that 10-year gap, right away, it just screams deep trauma and, unresolved issues that are all connected to this one town.
And the catalyst for her return, the thing that pulls her back, is urgent.
Yeah.
It's deeply worrying.
Yeah.
Her father, Liam Sawyer, who is something of a local legend in the Bigfoot hunting community.
Or infamous, depending on who you asked.
Infamous in the outside world for sure. He's vanished.
Just gone.
Gone. He was supposedly on a camping trip, probably out seeking that elusive creature again, but he hasn't been seen or heard from in over 2 weeks.
Wow. 2 weeks.
Which is alarming for anyone, but especially, the sources say, for his new wife of 6 months, Emily Lane.
Okay. 6 months. That's a critical detail, isn't it?
It really is.
It suggests this immediate, huge shift in Liam's domestic life right before he disappears. It's not a long-established relationship.
Not at all. But the sources, they do a great job of establishing this sense of foreboding before she even gets home.
Oh, yeah. The drive-in.
The drive-in.
Yeah.
Rozalyn is on that lonely stretch of highway outside Oak Ridge, heading toward Timber Falls, and she's feeling this rising tide of uneasiness.
You can feel it in the text.
You can.
Mm.
And she finds herself tailing this nondescript pickup truck, and she feels this odd kinship, is the phrase they use, with the driver in the dark.
Almost a sense of protection, like we're the only two people out here.
Exactly. Until everything just suddenly and violently goes wrong.
It's the perfect setup for psychological trauma, right? I mean, she's already on her way back to the site of her greatest grief.
Mm-hmm.
And now the narrative immediately throws this shocking red flag at her at Lost Creek Falls.
So she's driving, she's distracted, probably feeling the pull of all those memories coming back.
Right.
When she vaguely registers a detour sign, and she follows it. She just blindly tails the pickup onto this unfamiliar, narrow logging road that she does not recognize from her childhood.
And this is where we really need to slow down because the specific location, it's just a master stroke in staged manipulation.
It is.
It's the dead-end road to Lost Creek Falls. She realizes her mistake. She tries to turn her big SUV around in this tight, gravelly lot, and that is the exact moment she witnesses the event that just instantly shatters her reality.
A figure in a bright, almost unnaturally visible, yellow hooded raincoat suddenly just bursts through her headlights.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. It runs toward the safety barrier at the top of the roaring falls, climbs over without any hesitation, and just drops instantly over the edge.
Gone.
Gone. Swallowed by the spray and the thundering roar of the water.
And Rozalyn is just paralyzed. She runs out coatless into this icy rain, just consumed by this crushing fear of having just seen another person potentially take their own life.
And near a place that already symbolizes so much tragedy for her. It's just, it's brutal.
Brutal. And the man who was waiting there in the pickup truck, the one she felt that odd kinship with,
Yeah.
he instantly transforms from this anonymous figure into the infamous scientist and Bigfoot hoaxbuster, Ford Lancaster.
The one man on Earth she probably wanted to see least.
The absolute last person. And this is her immediate, terrifying encounter with the man who would, turn out to be her protector. But at this moment, he's her antagonist.
Totally. Ford, soaked from the deluge. He grabs her from behind, and he actually prevents her from slipping on these slick, mossy rocks and falling herself.
A genuine rescue.
A genuine rescue, but listen to his immediate reaction because it's just a calculated denial. He accuses her of attempting suicide. He says, "My mistake for trying to save you from yourself."
Oh, wow.
He completely dismisses her frantic claims of seeing a jumper.
That is classic gaslighting, isn't it? I mean, he looks her right in the eye and tells her he saw nothing but her bolting from her car. He immediately plants that seed of self-doubt. So you, the listener, you need to grasp the speed at which this character operates. He successfully shakes her confidence, even though she insists she saw that yellow raincoat just churning in the water below.
But the source material gives us two really crucial conflicting facts about Ford's presence right there.
Okay.
Fact 1, he denies seeing the jumper, flat out. Fact 2, he admits he was watching her in his side mirror as he started to leave.
Wait, why would you watch a stranger leave a dead-end road unless you have a reason to observe their reaction to something?
Exactly, and the crucial piece of evidence is what Rozalyn notices only as she's driving away, shaken.
The sign.
The unauthorized detour sign she vaguely remembered seeing. It's gone now.
The vanishing detour sign. That's the critical clue. It signals intentionality. This wasn't a random accident or a random suicide.
No way.
It was a targeted, calculated trap. There were no other vehicles at that dead end, just his truck and her SUV.
Someone knew exactly when Rozalyn would be arriving. They planted the sign to divert her, and they orchestrated this staged jump.
So Ford's denial is highly suspicious, but the fact he was there and saved her, it creates this instant confusing tension that really defines the relationship moving forward.
It's almost as if he was waiting for the performance to conclude before he stepped in.
Right, like he was an observer, not a participant, until the last second.
Okay, so this deep dive, it really requires us to track two major converging plot lines at the same time. Because the danger in Timber Falls is so much more widespread than just what's happening to the Sawyer family.
Right, it's not happening in a vacuum.
Not at all. While Rozalyn is grappling with her trauma at the falls and her father's disappearance, the local crime beat is just heating up.
Thanks to Charity Jenkins.
Exactly. The relentless investigation by Charity Jenkins, the reporter for the Timber Falls Courier.
And we see her, she's working late. She really embodies that, that gritty determination of a small-town journalist who is just obsessed with uncovering the truth.
And Sheriff Mitch Canner shows up at her office with the long-awaited ballistics report from the death of Bud Farnsworth.
The decoy foreman, right?
That's the one. And the news is just explosive. The shot that killed Bud came from Wade Dennison's gun, not his wife Daisy's.
Okay, so that's the official, definitive breakthrough Charity has been working toward for months.
This solidifies her entire theory about the kidnapping of the Dennison's baby daughter, Angela, 27 years ago.
27 years. Wow.
A long time. Charity believes Wade Dennison, the wealthy, prominent owner of Dennison Ducks, hired Bud to kidnap Angela.
And the motive?
Why? Because Wade suspected the baby wasn't his. It was this brutal, ugly rumor that had followed the Dennison family for nearly 3 decades.
So, okay, we have a clear motive for the original kidnapping. Rage, pride, questionable paternity. And now a clear motive for the recent murder. Bud, the decoy foreman, was killed by Wade to silence him before he could reveal the whole conspiracy.
And Charity had already suspected this because she saw Bud looking right at Wade just before he died. The ballistics report just proves her journalistic instinct was spot on.
What's fascinating here is how this whole secondary plot, it really establishes the emotional and, I guess, the moral chaos of Timber Falls.
Absolutely.
These are high stakes, crimes, kidnapping, murder happening right out in the open, and the fallout is immediate. Wade Dennison moves out of his huge, insulated estate.
Leaving his wife, Daisy, who was just emotionally devastated, behind.
And he seeks refuge in Unit Aries at Flory's bungalow rentals.
Right, and let's pause on that detail for you. Why Unit Aries? The sources clarify this was the unit previously occupied by Nina, a local woman known for keeping to herself.
So Wade is seeking seclusion. He wants a place where he can hide from public scrutiny and, his impending legal doom. Unit Aries gives him that necessary isolated space within the chaos of the town.
And Sheriff Mitch Canner, who we find out is now romantically involved with Charity, he's caught right in the middle.
That's a complicated relationship.
Very. And he's seriously worried. He fears Wade is completely unhinged at the end of his rope. And Mitch knows that Charity's reporting, which is aggressive and totally unapologetic in his pursuit of the truth, is going to incite immediate violence.
So this local turmoil sets the stage right. If Timber Falls is already this dangerous, Rosalyn's immediate personal threat is so much easier to overlook.
Exactly. The background noise of murder makes Liam Sawyer's case just another tragedy in a town full of them.
And that tragedy escalates when Rozalyn finally learns her father has been found. He was unconscious in a coma at the bottom of a cliff.
Near a recent Bigfoot sighting spot on Maple Creek Road, of all
Of
places.
course, and he was anonymously dropped off at the hospital by these so-called Bigfoot hunters who just vanished immediately.
And the official story is quick and simple. The doctors believe he slipped, fell, and hit his head. It was an accident.
Right. But Rozalyn rushes to the house, her childhood home, only to be hit with a surprise that just makes her blood run cold.
The uninvited dinner guest.
The man staying in the guest house is none other than Ford Lancaster. The man from the Falls, the man who saved her, and the man who, a decade ago, publicly ruined her father's life.
We really have to understand the depth of this betrayal. Ford Lancaster wasn't just a skeptic.
No, he was the guy.
He was the person who professionally humiliated Liam. He published an article that meticulously dissected Liam's best evidence, a series of blurry photographs taken with his friend John Wells, and just branded it an elaborate hoax.
So Rozalyn immediately accuses Ford of being a liar, an opportunist. She is convinced he's trying to get closer to her father for some, nefarious purpose.
But this is where the source material signals that Ford is much more complex than just a cynical hoax buster. He confirms his identity, he confirms the terrible history between them, but he insists he's there not as Liam's friend, but because he believes Liam is in real mortal trouble and needs protection.
So he's actively suggesting Liam's fall was not an accident.
Directly contradicting the official medical opinion and, more importantly, the opinion of Liam's new wife, Emily.
This is the moment Ford starts to win, however grudgingly, Rosalyn's attention. He immediately acts on his concern, and he shows a surprising level of resources and urgency.
Right. He convinces Sheriff Mitch Tanner, who, let's be honest, desperately needs reliable people given the escalating Denison mess, to hire his own brother.
Jesse Tanner.
Jesse Tanner, a man described in the text as having a raw sexuality and being dangerous in a dangerous way.
What a description.
But highly capable and trustworthy in Mitch's eyes. And he hires him to guard Liam's hospital room 24/7.
That quote is so important. Jesse Tanner is not a safe character, but the very fact that Ford recognizes the severity of the threat, that someone might try to finish the job in the hospital, and commits to paying for 247 high-level security, that speaks volumes. If he were just an opportunist, why would he spend the money and risk his own brother's safety?
Doesn't add up.
No. And that sets up Ford's staked claim. He knows he has to overcome a decade of hatred, so he takes Rozalyn to Betty's Cafe, forcing this public, incredibly uncomfortable explanation of his true, multi-layered motives.
And we have now moved entirely past the realm of, a simple hoax investigation. We are now dealing with a man actively involved in securing a potential murder investigation.
Okay, so let's unpack this coffee shop confession, because this is where everything starts to shift. Ford Lancaster has to basically tear down his entire professional persona in front of the one woman he humiliated.
And the daughter of the man he publicly ruined, it's an impossible situation.
It is. And this segment, it reveals the decades-deep reason for his presence in Timber Falls, and it's deeply, deeply personal.
He confesses that he was only 24 when he wrote that scathing, career-destroying article, the one that discredited Liam Sawyer and his close friend John Wells.
He claims he was hungry for fame, but the source material reveals a much darker personal angle that really fueled his professional cruelty.
And this is the bombshell that changes everything.
Yeah.
For Rozalyn and for us, the listener.
John Wells, Liam's close friend and the co-discoverer of those blurred Bigfoot photos. He was Ford's biological father.
His full name was John Ford Wells. Ford's parents had divorced when he was young, he was adopted, and he carried this massive axe to grind against his biological father, John.
So that grudge, that raw personal resentment, that's what fueled his overly enthusiastic debunking of the photographs.
Exactly. It wasn't about pure science.
No, it was about tearing down his estranged father's world.
And he even admits that, looking back now, the photographs were just too blurry to be definitively proven fake. His initial judgment was completely clouded by personal bias.
Which confirms Rosalyn's worst suspicions about his motives years ago, but it also gives him a new, understandable, and deeply human motivation now.
And the pivotal event, the reason he is in Timber Falls now, is the final panicked call. Ford reveals that Liam called John's phone number right before his accident. And Liam sounded frightened, impaired, almost drunk, saying he was in trouble, that he had found something.
And he says, they're trying to kill me.
Desperately, just claiming they're trying to kill me.
And here is the truly tragic twist of fate, isn't it? Ford answered that phone.
He answered it moments after his own biological father, John Wells, had died.
Oh my God.
John was gone, but Liam was still trying to reach him. This desperate, impaired plea for help being answered by the son who hated both of them.
So Ford immediately suspected something was terribly wrong, especially when Emily had lied to him about Liam's safety when he'd called the house earlier to check.
So he came to Timber Falls to investigate this terrifying, ambiguous message.
So what does he think Liam found?
Well, Ford initially theorizes, based on Liam's life's obsession, that the something Liam mentioned, which Ford thought sounded like bones,
Right.
were Bigfoot bones.
Which would instantly elevate the motive from, a simple accident to an organized, high-stakes murder plot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A physical, undeniable Bigfoot specimen would be worth a fortune. There are enormous rewards, including the $1 million reward detailed in the source material, plus the astronomical value to private collectors who want to possess that definitive proof.
But Rozalyn has a different perspective.
She does.
She argues that the value doesn't matter because she knows her father. Liam would have donated the bones to a museum or a university. He never would have sold them.
But she concedes the chilling truth. Someone else must realize the extreme financial value of the discovery,
And they intend to cash in.
which creates the clear motive for attempted murder.
The pact between them is sealed by desperation. Rozalyn is determined to join Ford, insisting that her knowledge of the surrounding Cascades is invaluable for finding the precise location Liam was camping.
And Ford, despite his increasing protective instincts toward her, he reluctantly agrees. He recognizes the danger is mounting, especially after what he witnessed at Lost Creek Falls.
He realizes Rozalyn, despite her justifiable anger toward him, is the only one who truly knows Liam's patterns. She's the key.
She is. So as they forge this dangerous investigative partnership, the shadow plot against Rozalyn herself is accelerating back at the house.
Orchestrated by the very people she thinks are caring for her.
She returns to her old room, which Liam had deliberately kept untouched for 10 years.
Another poignant, painful reminder of her trauma.
But she immediately senses danger.
The sources detail the specific clues. Despite a stormy night, Rozalyn notices the guest room window has been left deliberately open. She checks the lock. It's broken.
Which means someone could have easily climbed in from that sturdy outside tree, the same tree that leads to the Widow's Walk.
And her suitcase had been gone through.
Yeah.
And not neatly either. It suggests a hasty, desperate search for something specific.
But the real attack is psychological. It's so much more insidious.
The music.
The music. She goes into the sewing room and hears her mother's favorite song playing on the old phonograph. And this song isn't just a memory for her.
No, it's a trigger. It's the music she heard in her nightmares and the music that was playing on the day her mother committed suicide 10 years prior.
It's a deliberate, cruel act designed to destabilize her. She turns it off, but seconds later it just clicks and starts again, playing the same haunting, agonizing melody.
Her reaction is primal. Terrified, she grabs the vinyl 45 record and just breaks it into tiny, irreparable pieces. She flees the room, convinced she is either losing her mind or being actively haunted.
She is being driven toward the very brink of the trauma she spent a decade running from.
This manipulation, it climaxes later that night. Ford, he can't sleep in the guest house. He's just had his own disturbing discovery.
Right, someone broke into his quarters and stole his research disk.
Exactly. So he's on edge, and he sees a light flickering in the main house attic. He rushes over, he climbs that same tree outside Rosalyn's room.
Where he confirms the lock is broken and finds a screwdriver left behind.
And what he finds is just horrifying. He discovers Rozalyn, seemingly asleep or in this catatonic daze, dangerously perched on the widow's walk railing.
The exact place her mother had fallen from.
Exactly. And she is crying out that her mother is calling her name. She appears to be sleepwalking, or more accurately, in a deep hypnotic state.
And Ford saves her just in time.
This rescue, it leads directly to the smoking gun. Ford, now completely convinced this is not a coincidence or trauma resurfacing, he quickly secures a urine sample from her.
And pays a hefty incentive for a rush lab job.
Right. And the results confirm his worst fears. Rozalyn was drugged with a potent substance commonly used to induce hypnosis.
So this substance, it mimics the symptoms of sleepwalking, but fundamentally it makes the victim highly susceptible to suggestion.
So hearing her mother's voice.
Hearing her mother's voice, Being drawn to the widow's walk, the phonograph, the open window, the feeling of being haunted, it was all designed to drive her back to that railing and trick her into taking her own life.
And Ford immediately suspects the Swiss chocolates that Drew Lane had left for her earlier.
Chocolates Rozalyn, knowing her own weakness for them, had happily consumed.
This confirms it. The entire Lane family is actively trying to kill her. So as Ford and Rozalyn are racing against this psychological warfare, our local journalist, Charity Jenkins, is connecting the dots on the Emily Lane family.
And she's confirming Ford's suspicions that the family identity is completely fraudulent.
In her tenacious investigation, she uses her journalistic contacts to dig into the background of Emily, Drew, and Suzanne Lane.
And she finds definitive proof that the real Andrew Lane, the supposed husband and father of this family, died about a year ago.
Wow.
She calls Drew's number, and the person who answers denies his mother, Emily, has remarried. The conclusion is just inescapable. This is a stolen or borrowed identity.
Clearly a scheme to get access to Liam Sawyer's money.
And then we get this critical, unsettling insight from Charity's Aunt Flory.
The local psychic and motel owner?
That's her. Flory reveals she harbored this secret, unrequited love for Liam for years, which fuels her intense jealousy and suspicion toward Emily.
And Flory has this premonition that Emily is not long for this world. This is more than just psychic chatter, isn't it? It's confirmation of internal danger.
It feels like it. But the critical link Flory provides is a direct name. Flory links Emily to a nurse named Lynette Hargrove.
Lynette Hargrove?
A woman who reportedly died in a fiery car wreck years ago. So the sources are confirming that Emily is an assumed identity, and the real woman is Lynette Hargrove.
And as if to just underline the darkness of this discovery, Flory performs a tarot reading for Rozalyn right then and there.
After seeing Liam's profound misery in the cards, she pulls the final, terrifying card that speaks directly to Liam's whispered phone call.
An open dirt grave with the bones still in it.
Chilling. This is a moment of thematic convergence. Rozalyn and Ford had initially assumed Bigfoot bones, which meant potential wealth.
But a vision of an open dirt grave is a chilling confirmation that the mystery is far more immediate and human. This is confirmation that the danger stems from a hidden murder, not a rare zoological specimen.
Meanwhile, Ford has been working desperately to prove Rosalyn's sanity and provide physical evidence of the attempt on her life. He successfully pushes Mitch Tanner to conduct a thorough investigation of Lost Creek Falls.
And Mitch confirms the first key piece of evidence. The detour sign Rozalyn vaguely remembered seeing was completely unauthorized.
Which means someone actively led her to that dead end.
Ford then lays out his full theory to the sheriff. The jumper Rozalyn witnessed was a mannequin, dressed in that bright yellow raincoat, staged specifically to shock Rozalyn.
Psychological warfare, playing directly on the memory of her mother's suicide at the Widow's Walk. This was designed to soften her up for the hypnotic suggestion later.
And Mount confirms the theory by finding a piece of the mannequin's hand.
And Ford, to maintain transparency, immediately explains that his fingerprints are on it from when he grabbed Rozalyn to save her.
The motives solidify when Ford and Rozalyn return to Maple Creek Road, the supposed site of Liam's accident. They find his backpack.
But there is a glaring omission. Liam's digital camera, the one he never went anywhere without, is missing.
And crucially, they also find evidence that blood was not shed naturally, but it was planted on the rocks near the cliff face.
This confirms the fall was staged miles from where Liam was actually attacked. He was drugged, violently assaulted by Drew, and then dropped off anonymously.
And the perpetrators then returned to the cliff face to stage the accident to look believable, throwing a few drops of Liam's blood onto the scene.
Right. And this is where Rozalyn, under this immense emotional strain, finally snaps at Ford.
Yeah, she's at her breaking point.
She is. Ford has just received the rushed lab report confirming the hypnotic drug in her system. But before he can even share it with her, Rozalyn finds his draft article.
The title is Bigfoot Hysteria in Timber Falls, home of the infamous photographer.
And worse, she sees the $1 million Bigfoot reward article circled among his papers.
Oh, that's just devastating for her.
From her perspective, this confirms every cynical thought she ever had about him. She believes Ford used the entire situation, the kisses, the protection, the shared danger, just to get close to her, find the bones for the $1 million, and restore his own lost professional reputation.
So, heartbroken, furious, and convinced he is just another opportunist, she takes off into the dangerous, isolated mountains alone.
And her dramatic departure forces the hands of her attackers. Drew, seeing Rozalyn flee, He abducts her from the hospital where she had gone to check on Liam.
And Ford quickly captures Drew in pursuit.
And Drew, under pressure, finally reveals the truth. The woman Rozalyn knows as Emily is, indeed, Lynette Hargrove. He confirms he left the poisoned Swiss chocolates for her, and that Lynette hated Timber Falls and rigged the phonograph in the sewing room to scare Rozalyn away so Liam would sell the house and move.
But the true, horrifying motive for the entire long-term scheme goes much deeper than just wanting to relocate, doesn't it?
So much deeper. Drew confesses that his mother, Lynette, killed Dr. Morrow.
The local doctor who had visited Anna Sawyer right before her suicide.
That's him. She killed him because Morrow caught Lynette stealing drugs. This reveals Lynette was not just a bored wife, but a career criminal and a substance abuser who was cornered.
And the tragedy of the past suddenly becomes crystal clear. Drew, who was only 9 years old at the time, helped his mother bury Dr. Morrow's body in the garden.
Which leads to the unavoidable, chilling conclusion that has haunted Rozalyn for a decade. Rosalyn's mother, Anna Sawyer, must have witnessed the murder and the burial.
So Lynette Hargrove, desperate to keep her secret buried, literally in the garden, then killed Anna. She staged it as a suicide from the widow's walk.
And the phonograph music. The music Rozalyn remembered hearing right before her mother's body was found. It wasn't a manifestation of grief or a ghost.
No, it was a deliberate, mechanical act. It was played loudly to cover up the sounds of the struggle or the loud, heavy thump of Anna's body hitting the attic floor before Lynette pushed her to her death.
The bones Liam found were never valuable Bigfoot remains. They were the human remains of Dr. Morrow, finally exposing the secret Lynette had killed to protect.
So all these different plot lines, they just slam together at this point. And it starts with the immediate, deadly danger facing Sheriff Mitch Tanner.
Mitch is interrupted while he's reviewing Wade Dennison's old financial records.
And the records finally prove Charity's theory with undeniable data.
Right. Wade paid Bud Farnsworth $100,000 in monthly installments over the years to kidnap Angela 27 years ago. Wade was undeniably guilty of commissioning the kidnapping.
So Mitch confirms he was right about the Dennison case, but before he can even process this, he's called away to the Dennison house, which is just setting him up for disaster.
At the same time, Ford has tracked down Drew and is racing back to the hospital. He's determined to warn Liam about the danger from the family before they can strike again.
And Ford arrives just in time.
He finds Dr. Harris, who is Emily Lynette's confederate and the current treating physician.
Attempting to smother Liam Sawyer with a pillow, he's aiming to silence him before he wakes up and reveals the truth.
Ford quickly incapacitates Harris, knocks him out, ties him up. This confirms definitively that Liam's fall wasn't just an attempted murder. Lynette had planned to finish the job immediately, using her accomplice in the medical community.
And it's during this high-stakes moment that Liam wakes up briefly. He's pulled back from the edge of the coma by Ford's actions.
And in a critical, gasping whisper, Liam confirms Ford's latest findings. He tells Ford, "Find Roz, not Emily." Lynette confirming the false identity.
Then he warns, they'll kill her, the bones. He confirms the bones were not Bigfoot bones, but the human remains of Dr. Morrow buried in the garden.
Liam also clarifies that panicked phone call to John Wells. He confesses he'd been drugged by Emily Lynette, then violently hit by Drew, which left him severely impaired.
So he had tried to call John Wells and just hit redial because he was impaired and sounding drunk.
Right. Which led to Ford's confusing first interaction with the case. He was trying to warn of Dr. Morrow's bones, knowing that Lynette would realize what he'd found.
The final confrontation pivots to the house. Drew has forced Rozalyn up to the attic via the hidden staircase, the scene of her mother's true murder.
And Lynette Hargrove is waiting there, holding a gun, ready to complete the suicide staging she failed to execute on Rozalyn earlier.
Rozalyn sees the ultimate confirmation of the horror. The phonograph is playing the broken record again.
It had been mechanically rigged to restart regardless of the damage, proving this was a sophisticated cover-up device. Lynette intends to stage Rosalyn's death as a suicide, finally completing the tragic cycle begun a decade prior.
The tension is just excruciating as Ford bursts in. He reveals that Liam is alive and conscious and that Dr. Harris is captured and talking to the sheriff.
And Rozalyn, realizing this is her only chance, she fights back. She elbows Drew hard in the face. A shot is fired in the ensuing struggle.
The climax plays out on the widow's walk. Lynette, desperate, attempts to escape toward the railing. Drew tackles Ford, but the momentum of their struggle drives both Drew and Lynette into the decaying railing.
And in a horrifying final act, the source material emphasizes Lynette's ultimate self-interest. She tries to push Drew away to save herself.
But Drew, in a last gasp of rage or desperation, he grabs her sleeve as the broken railing gives way, and both of them fall 4 stories to their deaths in the garden.
Landing right on top of Dr. Morrow's grave.
Poetic justice in a horrifying way. The immediate aftermath reveals the full scope of the conspiracy. Jesse Tanner arrives shortly after to secure the scene, finding the truth of the Lane family.
A third conspirator, Suzanne Lane, who was actually a third-rate actress named Sunday Brooks, is found dead in the attic.
Shot by Lynette during the chaos, probably because she was trying to flee or was deemed a liability.
The Lane family was nothing but a trio of actors hired by Lynette for her financial long con.
Meanwhile, that secondary plot reaches its own violent conclusion. Mitch Tanner, responding to Daisy's frantic call about Wade, arrives at the Dennison house.
And Mitch is shot twice, once by Wade and once by Daisy, who was struggling desperately for the gun after Wade confronted her.
He's critically injured, airlifted to Eugene, but he does recover.
And the source material grants Mitch and Charity a moment of true resolution. Upon his recovery, Mick proposes to Charity, and she accepts.
It cements their future together. It sort of signals that Timber Falls, despite all its darkness, can offer some genuine stability.
Back at the Sawyer house, Liam is released from the hospital. He's confirmed safe, and Ford gives his final, sincere apology to Rozalyn.
He proves his transformation by destroying the article and the disc containing all his research. He lets go of the fame and money he once craved.
He confirms he came to believe Liam's innocence and was focused solely on her safety.
And in one final, stunning moment of truth, Ford confesses something startling to Rozalyn, something he would never admit professionally.
As he was watching the house that first night, he saw a huge creature covered with hair, watching him from the foliage.
He confirms his own years-delayed belief in Bigfoot.
The cynical hoaxbuster has become a true believer, transformed by love and danger.
And the house itself undergoes a significant transformation. The widow's walk is dismantled and removed entirely.
The garden is plowed up by state investigators looking for more bodies, confirming the disturbing nature of the property. Fortunately, they find none beyond Dr. Morrow's remains.
The house is cleansed of its tragic memories, ready for Rozalyn and Ford to start anew, finally allowing Rozalyn to hear her mother's presence whisper, "Welcome home, dear."
So if we synthesize this entire deep dive, the lessons are pretty profound. We learn that the greatest dangers in Timber Falls weren't some lurking cryptids in the rainforest,
No.
but these sophisticated, calculating human evil operating under the cover of domestic bliss. The main takeaways are startling, particularly the profound danger posed by hidden identities. I mean, Lynette Hargrove's desperate scheme to marry for money and conceal a decade-old murder.
Absolutely. And we saw the fragility of truth exposed over and over again. Liam's reputation was destroyed over questionable Bigfoot photos, yet his real discovery, a pile of human bones, was the true trigger for attempted murder.
Right.
And fundamentally, the past dictated the present. Anna Sawyer's murder 10 years ago was the dark secret that Lynette Emily had to protect at all costs, and that led directly to the attempts on Rozalyn and Liam.
And that element of transformation is just so crucial. Ford Lancaster, the cynical professional who started his career trying to destroy Liam, was ultimately transformed into his protector and, in the end, a believer.
And Rozalyn, who had fled her past, she reclaims her home and finds peace, ready to move forward with a partner who was forged in that shared trauma.
This story provides almost complete closure. The discovery of Dr. Morrow's bones in the garden answered the central 10-year-old mystery of Anna Sawyer's staged suicide.
However, as we always do, we have to look at the lingering questions the source material provides, inviting you, the listener, to keep turning the evidence over in your mind.
Right. Liam's digital camera, the one he never went anywhere without, was missing from his backpack when he was found. And critically, his truck and camper were found hidden by those Bigfoot hunters miles away from the staged cliff where he was dropped. Lynette Hargrove's motive was purely financial Liam's money and the potential Bigfoot reward.
So we have to ask you, what critical piece of evidence beyond the bones and the money was so important that the killer had to stage Liam's fall miles from where he was attacked and ensure that his digital camera was never found?
Did Liam capture undeniable proof of Lynette's other crimes? Or perhaps did he capture irrefutable photographic evidence of that massive hairy creature watching them from the foliage?
A secret that Ford Lancaster now carries. That's the final thread of the Timber Falls mystery for you to mull over until our next deep dive.